Hi, it's Jean at Kept in Stitches. Come on into the cottage. Welcome. It's time for the week in review. So that is where I show you what's been going on at Kept in Stitches the past week. And I have to tell you, I feel like this past week, anything that could go wrong did go wrong. But that's another story. You'll hear part of it as I show you some of the stuff. So, what did go on at Kept in Stitches this week? First of all, last week I was telling you that I did get back to working on the long arm. And part of that was completing this quilt on the long arm, which there were a few problems along that line too, which Lizzie had to be put in timeout a couple times, but we finally did get it finished. And it's too big, I can't unfold it for you to see all of it, but you get an idea of what it is. Have the binding ready to be attached by hand on the back. So that is one of the bigger projects that got done today at Kept in Stitches. This week, not today, at Kept in Stitches. And part of completing that quilt, I always feel that a quilt isn't complete until it has a label on the back. So as I'm preparing to do my binding on the back, I always get my label ready because I sew that into the two corners of the binding, so I only have the other two corners to reach and do by hand where it's harder to reach, if you know what I mean. So in that process, I remembered, sorry about turning my back to you there, that I have a whole bunch of panels that are pre-made labels. And every time I remember them, I have to go through the whole stack looking to see what it is that I have, what I might want to use as one of the labels, all kinds of different ones here that you can see. There's even, these are black and white that you can color, kids ones. We have ones for Christmas and holidays. These are also Christmas. And these are also for that new baby coming. So I decided today that instead of always having to go rummage through all of these, open them up and refold them, that I needed to go ahead and cut them all out. So I got a good start cutting a bunch of them out. So all I have to do is then I'll sort them kind of by category, and it'll be so much easier to find a label that I want to use on a project when the time comes to add one. So that is one of the things that went on at Kept in Stitches. One of the other things is that on Monday morning, it's a new month, you know, so you start thinking, okay, what do you want to do for this month? And I decided that I would design a quick little project for those who wanted to make something quick in the form of a quilt, a little quilt for the month of March. So I designed just this cute little quilt, and it's called the Month of March Little Quilt. So it'll be a series from now on. Every month I'll be just designing a real easy beginner's quilt. A small one. I think this one finished at somewhere around 22.5 by 28.5, something like that. I'm not exactly, maybe it was 24.5 by 28.5, anywhere close to that. But every month it'll be something small, not always necessarily this size. Sometimes it might be one block with some embroidery work on it to add for those that like to do stitching. But so I designed that on Monday. I cut all the fabrics on Tuesday. On Wednesday, I pieced it, and on Thursday, I quilted it and added the binding. And this one, because it has a light background, I just wrote the information for the label on the back. So that is one project from start to finish that was completed in 4 days. Love those quick little fast projects that you can get done like that. Gives you a sense of accomplishment, like you got something finished. One of the other things that took place this week is, remember last week I was showing you that I had pulled the number for this month for the quilt that I need to work on, and that happened to be Crazy 8s, which were 2 fat quarter packs in here of 8 fat quarters each. That's why it's called Crazy Eights. And I have all the fabrics from the one cut into the strips, ready to subcut them and then start sewing the quilt together. So hopefully those will be finished by the end of next week and another project done. In addition to that, I have to look around and see what else we have for you here. I think that's all the major projects that got finished. There's always some that are ongoing, but they're not finished. So until they're in more of a completion state, I don't have those choice. Oh, I know the one main thing that I'm forgetting that took place this week is I had to get a new laptop. I don't like having to start new technology, learn something new, which of course it went from Windows 10 to Windows 11, had to do the startup and everything. And so since I have a new laptop and changed where I have it and everything, there were a couple other things that I had to get. So I decided to get this cute little mouse pad to go along with it because, of course, it's the colors of the cottage, which those of you that haven't seen yet, and I will be doing a tour real soon of the Quilt Cottage so you can see what it actually is that you're not seeing when I do my videos here. The rest of the cottage. This wall here is turquoise, but there's also a yellow wall and a pink wall. So there's 3 colors in here. It's bright and cheery, my happy place. So these are the colors of the cottage. So I got that mouse pad this week. And I also got one of the flexible rulers, bendable rulers, and I have a project in mind that I'm not going to tell you what it is because it's something I've got planned to do for the group. So we got that, and we also, of course, always need printer ink, so that was also in with that shipment from Amazon. And because of watching somebody else whose name we won't mention, but if she watches, she knows who she is, I just had to go ahead and order and get the mini Oliso iron. And of course, got it in the turquoise to match the cottage, which I haven't gotten a chance to use it yet. So I'll be using it this week, and I'll be using it when I do demonstrations and stuff. But I'm excited to get to use that, try it out, and I'll let you know whether I like it or not, what my pros and cons are about it. But it's got nice little sole plate that you can use. The one side is for when you're resting it because you rest it down. The other side is for when you're storing it. And it also has this little hook there so that you can hang it up if you choose to. So that is one of the other items that I got this week and splurged on. And then I happen to belong to a embroidery dish towel of the month. And I got this month's dish towel in the mail. I haven't opened it up. It's for March, which of course this is just the dish towel. There's nothing on it yet, but it comes with the dish towel. And the pattern for this month, let's get it out here, is called Clover Cafe. It says, Irish coffee, leprechaun lemonade, top of the morning to you. If you can see that, that's what will be going on there. Cute little dish towels if you like stitching to stitch up. And that happens to come from Granny's Legacy patterns. They're a quilt shop in, it's in the southern part of Minnesota. I'll go ahead and put that in the description box below. And then I also, put these out here, from Flamingo Toes. I love needle minders. You can never have enough needle minders, which for those of you that don't know what I mean, sorry, that's going to make a little bit of noise in there. That was loud. A needle minder, and we'll open one of these up so you can see, but this is a little sunflower one, but it's a heavy magnet so that as you're doing your stitching, it keeps your, oh, it's hard to get out of here. We picked one that's in there tight. There we go. But the magnet see, is on the back here, and it may be tiny, but it is mighty. And then there's the other portion on the back here. I'll go ahead and pick this up, show you how that works, to where you just put it on your project, click that little magnet behind there, and then your needle will lay right on there, so you know where your needle is while you're working. Keeps it out of the way, nice and handy. But I got the sunflower. These are going to be stuck together. I got a needlework house, a little yellow truck, and then there's another bag. I also like to give these as gifts, so they're not all for me. Here we have the mason jar with some flowers in it. And of course we have the bee for the quilting bee. Oops, don't want to lose them here. And we have the coffee shop. So those are cute little needle minders. And then I also have not gotten the opportunity to try the Aurifil. It's like the floss, only it's thicker, so you only have to use one strand, and it comes on a spool instead. And this is a collection that Beverly McCullough of Flamingo Toes puts out. So I went ahead and bought the collection in beautiful colors there. Don't you love it? See, it's got my turquoise, my pink, my yellow. So I'm excited to use those on some of the embroidery and needlepoint projects that I have going. So I believe that is all that's in my bin for this week. It doesn't seem like much, but it sure took time. Which I have to tell you a little story about one of the other things that went wrong with the first quilt that I showed you. I was sewing along just lickety-split on binding, the part where you attach it by machine, and then I always turn and do the other side by hand. But I got all the way around to almost the last half of the last side and realized there wasn't enough binding, which it wasn't the correct binding. It was a binding to another quilt is why there wasn't enough. So after doing all that, I had to sit there, get out Jack the Ripper, have a little date with him, and take that binding totally off, find fabric that did match, cut strips, sew them all together, and then sew them to the quilt again. But still managed to get it done and ready to sit down tonight and sew that binding on by hand and relax. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing what has gone on in the cottage at Kept in Stitches this week. And remember, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Friends of Kept in Stitches, Quilting Stitching Bee. If you're interested in joining us and seeing what goes on behind the scenes and other nifty little projects and stuff that are planned throughout the year, that link will be in the description box. Go ahead and click on it. There's just a couple questions you have to answer to join. Just ask to join, answer those questions, agree to the rules, and we'll let you in the group so you can join in on all the fun. Also, if you like what you see going on at Kept in Stitches and these videos, be sure and hit that subscribe box so that you get notifications of when new videos are coming up and you can keep up to date with everything that's going on at Kept in Stitches. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. See you soon with Tip Demo Tuesday. And I have some exciting things that I'm going to show you about, some tips on binding and also some tips on those labels that I showed you. So be sure and check back next week for that. Well, actually this week, Tuesday, should be when that is going to be shown. So thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Remember, I can keep you in stitches.